This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, folks. The time being 4:45, I'd like to call the meeting of April 18th, 2024 to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first on our agenda is a discussion on the New Hampshire Veterans Home, even though they're not coming tonight. Paul, go ahead. Thank you. So they're looking to discuss stop signs with us. New Hampshire Veterans Home is expanding to a 30-bed where their parking lot is now up against Winter Street. So they're looking to make it looks like a three-way stop.
That's what they're requesting.
Colby, Clark, and Winter. And that's what they want to come in. So want to go ahead with them on May 2nd for them to come in and discuss it with us. All right. Is that all right?
Personally, I think it's a waste of the Board of Selectmen's time. If they want to introduce their project, it should be to the planning board. Even though it's not required, typically, even the Board of Selectmen, when we were building the police station, brought it to the planning board. I mean, that's the place to introduce the project. And then the planning board can tell them how they feel about it, or, is it too close to the road, blah, blah, blah. I mean, and the stop sign, again, it's the town, the state is insisting that the town weigh in on the stop signs on a state road. I don't think I ever remember that happening before.
I like that idea, though. If they're going to start messing with the flow of traffic on our roads, they should at least give us a, hey, this is what we're
They've
proposing.
never done that before.
I know.
The thing out front here, the traffic circle.
That's
They
different.
were all about the traffic circle.
That was not because somebody put it on behalf of the town on the 10-year plan. This is different. It's not on the 10-year plan.
Okay.
Do we want to discourage them now?
I'll go along with what anybody else thinks.
I don't
That's just
think
my
it can
opinion.
hurt to listen to what they
Right.
have to say and their reasoning. I think there should be a public hearing of the individuals in that area of town so that they can weigh in. And because it's going to affect them. It's not going to affect me or you or most of the people in town, but it's going to affect them.
That's a good idea, Joe. We're going to have them come. We should let people know that live on those roads that they're coming and why.
I agree. I think that's an excellent idea.
I think, Pat, too, I would personally, I'd like to see the schematics or the placement of where they're going to have the signs before they come. I'm just one of those who at
Another
least,
good idea.
at least being able to absorb and be able to see it and then think about it instead of having to think about it on the spot.
Okay.
So, just so if they can get those to us, if we're going to decide to do this, I'd like to see those ahead of time just so that I can get a sense. I mean, obviously in my time here in Tilton, I've driven that road a lot, but just being able to see what they're thinking about for placement, And then our thought process is, if so many people have lived around here for a long time, if they're going to put stop signs in, they're going to have to put warning signs out ahead, especially, if they're temporary ones or permanent ones that stop ahead, because
Right.
it's going to be a large change.
A huge change.
Yeah. But I'd like to see the schematics or the placement of where they're thinking about having those signs on Colby and Clark.
So from what I'm hearing, the board would like you to get back in touch with Brian and ask him to send us along the placement of the stop signs ahead of time. And then we would like it to become a resident participating hearing
Thank you,
that
Madam Chair.
evening, okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Is Shane coming with you, or are you just coming up?
He was due to come, but I could get started if you like.
We could do
Do
minutes.
you want to text him and,
He is coming at 5 o'clock, he said, Madam Chair. Yeah.
Minutes?
yeah, we could do minutes.
Okay.
Okay, let's go to the minutes of April 11th. On page 1 of 9, under elderly exemption, she went on to say if anyone is having difficulty at this time to reach out to Amy Despens at this time, not in this line. Does it make sense to you?
Should it just say, if anyone is having difficulty with elderly exemption or
With anyone having a difficulty
this?
with this, please reach out to Amy Despens, Administrative
line?
Assistants in the Selectmen. Right.
Fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
On the same page, under Town Administrator's report, second line, being brought to the Planning Board and Zoning Board chairs. I asked for it to go to those boards, to all the members, to the boards, not the chairs. So I hope it did go to the boards and not just the chairs, because it came back from the chairs. And then asked to table the job description so that he can answer Dawson's questions at the meeting. I believe the town administrator was corrected in that the Board of Selectmen, we would have that discussion.
Okay.
Page 3. The discussion on 11 Maple Court. It wasn't about the driveway, the reason for the attorney. And it further down, near the bottom of the paragraph, it says Selectman Dawson summarized the complicated situation up to this point. But it wasn't about the driveway. And then it says, apparently the driveway is in violation of the driveway application. Water is flowing onto the town road and the abutter property more than it did before. I'm just afraid that when people read this,
Right.
I didn't say that about the water flowing, and I don't remember who did, but I'm just afraid that somebody's going to read this and think, oh, they're hiring a lawyer because this driveway application is faulty.
Mm-hmm.
And I explained that it is a lot more complicated.
It's a lot more complicated than that. It's not about the
The
water.
driveway itself wouldn't be an
Right.
issue for an attorney, but it's all the other.
Right. It's a lot of different things.
And
It's
I'd
a lot
like
of
that
different
to
parts.
show that.
Okay, so we'll send this back. We can take that sentence completely out. Apparently, the driveway is in violation of the driveway application.
Was that what was said at the meeting?
I think somebody did talk about it.
Seems like somebody did talk about it, to remove things from the minutes
But
that
this
was
is-
actually spoken at the meeting in favor of what we meant to say
But-
doesn't make sense.
But that's
to
the
me.
point.
This is
was-
what Selectman Dawson said, and
Right.
Selectman Dawson
This
didn't
was
say
my
this.
presentation.
Right.
I'd like to go back over the
Right.
actual tape, have her transcribe it word for word if necessary. And if indeed you're right, fine. But it seems
Right.
like I heard some of that stuff. I could use a refresher.
The other thing is the consensus authorized an attorney for this driveway planning board situation. I think it would be helpful if it said, but not the civil engineer at this time. So that's clear, because that was the consensus I came away with.
Right.
Correct.
And then on the very last page, 9 of 9, new business. Last sentence, application of the Tamworth Distilling to sell alcohol at the farmer's market. Could we put to sell bottles of alcohol? Because I believe that was clarified, that they would not be selling, because they did ask to have a tasting.
You mean
Thing.
8 of 9? Where are you?
9 of
9 of
9, the last page under new business.
No on-site sales of open containers.
Right, no tasting, just bottles.
I believe the actual term we used was sealed.
That's
I'm
fine.
not
Sealed
positive.
bottles.
Yeah.
As long as it's understood, we're not, no open containers. Isn't that the, I did say it.
That would be a separate permit.
Right. It's right next to the PD.
I don't even see that here. I must have a different page than you have. I don't see it on 9 of 9.
The ending of the meeting?
Yeah, got it. Okay, so we're going to turn these back and have her work on that. Shane's here. Okay, come on up, Shane. Tim. We're going to talk about the DPW vehicle.
2 and 3 on my report, and then you can talk about
Bring up, Shane, bring up the roller.
So I would direct you to my report in your binders. It was emailed out Tuesday. It was about 17 pages, most of which were quotes. But the first 2 pages on items, well, I'll start with item 2, and then on the back is 3 and 4 that we'll be discussing. And then Shane, the DPW director, also has a listing of his vehicles along with the mileage and some condition components about each vehicle. So bottom line is, Shane and I have spent some time and gone through the long-term equipment plan. So basically the next 10-year plan. And we've made some revisions and some suggestions based on the current condition. And in general, what we're going to be discussing tonight is the purchase of a new zero turn for the department. And we'll go through what the issues are with the old zero turn, and then also discuss the acquisition of a pickup truck for the department. So in general, right now, we've got a little over $52,000 in the capital reserve fund. We'll be putting in $45,000 this year. And in subsequent years, based on the plan, which is on page 3, we'd be looking to see that $60,000 is available for highway equipment purchases on an annual basis. And with that $60,000 on an annual basis, we'll be able to, in today's dollars, accomplish the acquisitions in a timely manner to provide for the department. So one of the ideas that I had was in looking at, if you recall, we used to have a recycling revolving fund, and that fund was specifically tailored to the pay-as-you-throw program at the time. But for this year, we're committed to the revenues that we're anticipating once we start up the recycling program. But I would suggest that maybe in the budget year 25, that with the approval of a new warrant article at town meeting, because the old recycling program had been rescinded and this recycling fund, by creating a new revolving recycling fund, putting recycling monies into that, net of our expenses for wages for the recycling, similar to how the police detail fund works, that those monies would then be available for highway equipment. So that on an annual basis, if we're able to net, say, $15,000 or $20,000 from the recycling fund, that we would then seek to increase, to add to our capital reserve fund by about whatever the difference is, up to $60,000. So in effect, as people are recycling, they'll also be helping to make sure that we have current and reliable equipment on the roads, taking care of our roads and streets and bridges. So in any event, that's the overview of number 2. On number 3, the zero turn. So we have 2 zero turns now. One is the X Mark that was purchased in 2005 for $7,642. That's a commercial piece of equipment that's been repaired over the years and refurbished, and it's in fairly good shape, I believe. The second item is a Hustler Raptor zero turn that was purchased in May of 2013 by the Parks Commission, and that was for $2,999. That mower is at the end of its life. So, and again, Shane can talk about the issues with that, but he did get a number of quotes, and they're all listed here, and I have the original quotes if you'd like to see them, but they're in your packets. So they range from the Wright zero turn 48-inch for $10,237. These are all commercial mowers. The X-Mark 48-inch for $10,399. Skag Patriot for $8,199. Patriot zero turn for $74.99, and a Ferris zero turn for $72.99. The last one, the Ferris zero turn from Knox Land Equipment, is the item that Shane and I are recommending. The list price on that is about $1,000 higher, and it comes with a 4-year warranty. The last item is regarding equipment purchase of a used truck. And we're not looking for a decision tonight, but just to introduce the topic and the issues with purchasing a truck for the department. So the 2011 GMC 2500 is also at the end of its life. And again, Shane can bring you up to speed when he goes through the list of issues with the vehicles. But it is also the highest priority. The director is having to use his personal vehicle around town for business use, and this would provide him with a vehicle to use. So what we're looking at is spending about $38,000, of which $35,000 would come from the highway equipment capital reserve, and then $3,000 from the sale of the existing 2011 truck. So we'd be looking at a vehicle not to exceed $30,000, a used vehicle, a 2500 or better, less than 60,000 miles, and it'll likely be a 2015 or 2016 model. Shane picked some examples from dealers, and those are on the back page, but you can see there's a 2016 F-250 with 40,000 miles for $30,000. 2015 F-250 with 23,000 miles for $28,000, and a 2016 F-250, 40,000 miles for $30,000. So the issue that we have is that if he were to find a truck that was suitable, by the time he was able to bring that to the Board of Selectmen in your timely manner for your meetings, and then to get approval to purchase it, it would probably be off the lot by then. This is the sort of thing you've got to act quickly on if you want to get something, particularly if it's going to be a trade-in. And so that's why we are going to be asking for the permission to purchase a vehicle, a used vehicle with those criteria. Again, not to exceed 30,000, 2,500 or better, less than 60,000 miles, and 2015 or newer. So the difference between the $30,000 and the 38 that we're budgeting is for the plow package. So that we'd be looking to add a plow package to that vehicle. So that's where we are in terms of my report, and I can go through the long-term capital improvement plan for the vehicles if you like. But if you take a quick glance at that page 3, you'll see what the beginning balance across all the years is for that, for the capital reserve fund. And then you'll see what the warrant articles are putting in. So you see everything from 25 on is at 60,000. And again, if the town were in agreement to have a revolving recycling fund fund part of that, that wouldn't necessarily, that 60,000 would not be 100% through taxation. It would be some portion of it through taxation. And then you can see how much is allocated to equipment and equipment replacement over those years from 2024 through 2035. And what the ending balance of that capital reserve fund would be for each of those years. So having said that, the one thing that you may have noticed, I've certainly noticed, is that it's green out there and it's getting greener and longer. So the most pressing issue is regarding the zero turn, and they are looking for a 48-inch rather 52-inch because of the cemeteries and issues of that sort. So I'll turn it over to Shane to go through your equipment.
Could you grab the microphone? We have the 2008 Ford Explorer, the code enforcement vehicle, which is out of service.
Did you make copies of that or no?
I did not.
Okay.
I can make
Well,
copies.
at the end, would you make copies for us?
Sure.
Thanks.
The code enforcement Explorer, we had it inspected and it did not pass because the subframe was rusted out on it. The 2011 Chevrolet 2500 has 140,000 miles on it. The motor is junk, and it has some transmission issues, drivability, shifting, and things like that. And it's starting to rust out on the bed and stuff. So that's the one we want to replace because you can't drive it. The Hustler zero turn mower, the transmissions are bad. You try to drive it and it just pretty much goes wherever it wants. And for the cost of the unit and for that unit, it just wasn't feasible to replace the transmissions because it's almost the same price as that mower. And it's just a homeowner mower.
It's not a commercial
No,
mower.
it's not a commercial.
It's a
mower.
throwaway.
Yeah. It's, so that's the one that we want to replace for the Ferris zero turn. The 2008 GMC 2500 has 140,000 miles on it. We've done brake repair on it, so the brakes are good on it. We've gone through some of it. The bed on it is bad. That won't pass inspection come September, but we can, they make patch panels. Pete's pretty good. He'll cut them out and put those in so we can get some more life out of that. Hopefully, as long as it passes inspection in September. Everything else looks pretty good on it, so hopefully just repairing the fenders on it will work. The 2006 Peterbilt dump truck has 46,000 miles on it, 4,638 hours. That's the one that needs a clutch, which we're going to get done soon. And the dump body on it's in rough shape. There's holes in the floor of it, which we can cut them out and put pieces in. And maybe we can try to get some of the rust off from it by maybe sandblasting it and painting it black or something, just to, get some more life out of that. I'm pretty sure, it's going to take time, but we can, work on that. The 99 International six-wheel dump has 70,000 miles on it, 6,142 hours. Needs tires all the way around, all six, because we looked up the date codes on them, and the front tires are original. They were in 98, and the rear tires are cracked. So, just age. Outside of that needs rear brakes, but we can have that all done. So that's not bad. The 2013 Ford F550 has almost 49,000 miles on it. They just went through it, replaced all the brakes. That's the one that we had to have the turbo and everything replaced on it. So that truck's should be good to go. The 2017 F550 has just over 30,000 miles on it. That one needs brakes, but guys at the shop, we can all do that. Then we have the multi one.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
More of an observation that maybe you can answer. Seems like all our vehicles need brakes. Why is that? That the way they're driven, just they all need brakes. It's a good vehicle except for it needs brakes.
Yep. They just never been done. We did the 2013, and the rear brakes were so worn they were beyond the pad. They were into the metal part of the brake pad. I have a picture on my phone of it. We showed it with the original, and then they just weren't done. The multi one that's that little blue.
Oh, yeah.
Little
I know
Yep.
what the multi one is.
Yeah, that's what we call a yard donkey. That has 1,500 hours on it. It's doing its thing.
There was transmission problems with that thing in the last 18 months, and there was talk about rebuilding the transmission. I don't know whatever happened to that, but how is the transmission in that thing now?
In the multi one?
Yeah.
Well, that's a hydrostatic. The hydraulic pump had to be rebuilt.
Mhm.
And that was
That was the
done.
one we sent out. right?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
sent out.
Okay, that
Last
answers
fall.
that question.
Yeah. So,
We've lost tens of thousands of dollars of value on that thing. Multi one always made me feel sad. It was sold a bill of goods. So
Mhm.
whatever you come up with to replace this, keep that in mind.
yeah,
Thank you.
we have the Brush Bandit wood chipper. That has a 1125 hours on it. And we don't use it a lot. We just go around and clean up brush and trees down. We have the roller, asphalt roller. It has 212 hours on it. We just got that out last month and went through the carburetor and everything because it wouldn't run and got that running. We replaced all the nozzles for the water. Had to replace the pipe because they didn't drain it way back when and it froze and broke the pipe. And so we got that going really well, so we can use that. The 2015 Kawasaki loader has 2,119 hours on it. The only thing we really had to do to that was replace the fuel filter because it rotted off in the shop. So luckily it was in the shop. We were able to replace that pretty easy. And the radiator cap, because that disintegrated and they went to check the fluids in it and it fell apart when he took it off. So, but that seems to be good so far. The 2017 Yanmar excavator has 1,358 hours. It's going to need tracks. They're just getting worn and starting to crack in certain spots. But I don't know. That's probably nothing we can do in shop. I don't know what that's going to detail. Trying to remove them and put them back on. Nobody's ever done it in our shop, so.
Oh.
Well, I'm not sure how that's done.
Maybe ask Kenny Partridge.
Yeah, we'll have Stephen come over. He'll help us.
He'll know what to do.
Yep. The 2021 trackless MT7 sidewalk machine has 1,277 miles on it, 298 hours, and that's going good.
A beast. Yeah.
That is a beast.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That thing can eat some snow.
Yep. Great.
That's what I have on the
Thank you. I
equipment.
appreciate it.
I'll give you
So,
all copies of this.
just to recap, so we would be looking for a motion or approval by the board to select the low price, the Ferris zero turn at $7,299, of which $7,000 would come out of the capital reserve fund and $300 out of the highway equipment purchase line.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
We're gonna sell the one we got now, right?
Yeah, we can probably put it on that municipal bid or something like that.
Or put it out front,
Or
one or
put
the
it
other.
out front
Yeah.
and, yeah, if somebody wants to put the money into it and replace those transmissions on it.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a small engine guy around who
Yeah.
can do it.
Yeah.
So,
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you.
Oh, what about the truck?
Well, we were going to bring the truck. We were anticipating that you might want to spend some time thinking about that, but if you'd like to discuss it, I mean, it is you understand, of course, the timing issue for finding something and acting on something. So
I think the need to replace it is there, and I think it's not going to go away.
It's a liability
Correct.
for Shane to be using his personal vehicle to the town. Go ahead, Joe.
This truck have a plow with it?
No.
Do we have a plow that we can use with it?
We might be able to upfit the
How
one that
much
was.
is another plow?
What's that?
How much would it cost to put a plow on?
I didn't check into that, but I'm thinking about probably about 8,000.
So that's where the 38,000 comes
38
from
comes
that we're
from.
recommending. But 35,000 would come from the highway equipment line, and then 3,000 would be from the sale of the old truck.
These are just examples on the bottom, Joe. They're not actual cars. They may be
Right.
still
And I just
available.
want to make sure
Yeah.
that if we
Yeah,
get
'cause-
something that has a plow on it,
Right.
because that truck needs a plow on it.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
maybe a sander.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know if any of our sanders fit in there, but that's just something we don't need to
Yeah, we can
work
address
on
it.
today.
The sander was not included in
no.
any of the
No,
numbers we
we
were
didn't put-
talking about.
no.
Yeah.
How long do you anticipate this truck lasting?
As long as we can make it last. We
Well, you're
can,
buying a secondhand truck, so you're buying somebody else's.
right. The other day I talked to, what was it, last week, when we started talking about this. And I talked to Irwin's and they had, I think it was this 2016 Super Duty. And it's immaculate. The guy took really good care of it. It doesn't have a plow on it or anything, so it wasn't plowed with it. It was, I don't know if it's still up there. They had today I saw it up there, they had a 2016 Chevy 3500. It's dump truck, a small dump truck, like the 550s, just smaller. And that had, I can't remember, 55,000 miles on it, and they wanted like 30 something for it. But I don't think we need anything that big. I just want to get something equivalent to the 2011 Chevrolet. That way, if anything happens to the 08 2500, we got a pickup that will replace that one right
Mhm.
off. We can plow
Right.
with it, and
Right.
that's why I was going with it, because I could care less if we had like a small pickup, but a small pickup just isn't feasible to run around.
Four-wheel drive?
Yep,
Standard or automatic?
automatic.
I'll make a motion to
They don't make them in standard anymore.
authorize a pickup, to purchase a used pickup,
Hmm.
not to exceed 30,000, 2,500 or better, less than 60,000 miles, 2015 or a newer vehicle.
With the money to come from the capital reserve fund.
With the money coming
35,000.
from the capital reserve fund.
Ruggles second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Okay, we all did it. Okay, so go out, and see if that one's available.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
And you'll send
get
us,
you- I'll
well,
get you
you
copies.
can either send, get us copies or email it to us. That'd be great.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
Email's
okay,
for me.
I can do
How are
that.
we looking with the bathroom? You're awesome.
Done today.
Get out.
Yeah.
Park commissioners have an event next Saturday, a week from
The,
this Saturday at the park, and I was asked to ask them to get the bathrooms open. That was like, what, yesterday morning or the night before?
yeah, last
He's
night.
got them open.
Yeah, I called them today, and the water company, you guys come down, and we got it hooked up, and we went through everything. They're still locked up,
That's okay.
because we didn't put the trash cans out or anything yet.
No.
We'll do that like Friday before the event. Unlock everything, and
Good plan.
they
Thank you.
cleaned up leaves and
Excellent.
made it look prettier.
Very
Took all the
nice.
stuff down, lights, all that. So,
When are you scheduled to do spring cleanup in the park?
well, they pretty much started it today.
And when you're finished?
Well, if it's nice tomorrow, they'll probably finish it tomorrow.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Should be anyways. As long as it's decent.
Thanks.
Great.
Thank you,
And
Shane.
thank you.
Appreciate
Welcome.
it.
Thank you.
So excellent.
All right, next on our list is parking issues with Chief, you can leave that there. You can leave. Chief Gilman and Deputy Fire Chief Valvani, and Matt, you coming up too? Oh, you're just gonna listen?
You don't see him.
Okay, is that what you
Thank
wanted
you,
to-
sir.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. I didn't have one with me, but I printed out another one. I didn't realize the chief had printed that.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Was that? No, apparently not.
But I'm not gonna do the number.
I can wait.
Didn't even know there was one.
Well, remember?
I know, but he never put it on. Okay, this is about the issue that we have over by the fire station. So who wants to present it? Or do you want me to talk about it? You go ahead. Go ahead.
You
Yeah,
want me to
go ahead,
first?
Sean.
All right,
Yep.
So, I approached the chief and then the chief approached the commission about, if you can see on the colored map, behind lot 43, it's all, uh, mud, kind of dirt back there. So we have approached the commission about rehabbing that area and possibly paving or using reclaim back there. Since the unfortunate parking situation, which over on lot 41 and 41A, the fire department is doing everything it can to park back there. It's been very, very difficult in the winter, but we've done a pretty good job. I think Chief Gilman has helped us out. A lot of people have been parking sideways back there. So chief will get them to move, and we park at a 45-degree angle, park kind of back there. And most of our vehicles do fit back there. Occasionally we can't get them all because of the snow. So at shift change, the problem is, so at shift change, I have 8 firefighters, 4 coming on, 4 coming off. Myself, the chief, sometimes Kathy and Courtney. So there'll be 12 vehicles plus the utility, which stays outside. There's 13 vehicles we have to park. We do a pretty good job of keeping it in our square here, on our property. But this becomes muddy and pothole. Twice last year, we brought in Phil. Well, I don't want to say Phil, that's not the right word. Dwayne brought it. I don't know what the material he brought was, gravel or ledge pack or something. And he's filled in the potholes. They become very deep. And then obviously they get smashed aside. And I think one of the problems is, if you look at lot 42, no one in the back row and then the second row, no one can get in and out of those spots because usually the front row is filled. So everyone has to come behind the firehouse who uses the parking on lot 42. And so there's a lot of traffic that goes behind the firehouse, which isn't, I'm not sitting here to saying we need to block off the parking. I just approached about, rehabbing that area so we wouldn't have to keep bringing the fill in, creating the mud holes, creating the potholes. And the more traffic we have back there, the worse it is. So when we went to the commission about it, the commission wanted to start a conversation with you guys about possibly giving some sort of access to lot 42 here on the side. I did take a walk wheel out yesterday and I walked from both sides. This color diagram seems to be about right. I'm not a surveyor. I don't say I'm a surveyor, but I took the walk wheel from both ends, measured it out, and these lines that overlay it seem about where those lot lines are. So it's just about, maybe alleviating some of the traffic that comes behind that fire station. Because we've had a few times now where a truck pulling a trailer will go back there and then it's a nightmare for them to get, because now they have to back all the way out. And in our trucks, you can't see it in this year, but our trucks are all parked at a 45-degree angle behind the fire station on lot 43.
So Sean, you're saying that the fire department actually owns the 4 spaces there?
I went through this. So Pat, I'm not great at deeds. And so last night, for me and Kathy, we opened the safe and took all the old records out. And there was records going back to the 1800s. And it looks like to me, and again, I'm not an expert at this and I don't want to, that 95 feet is
how much we owe. I have one of the deeds here that says we own 97 feet. I don't know where the 2 feet came from, but this one's from 1927. So there's been a lot of transactions there. It looks to me like we actually sold lot 42 to you guys in 1950 something for $50. If you'd want to sell that back, I think we would. But so I'm not an expert at deeds and reading deeds, and there was a lot of cursive and handwriting from 100 years ago. But I believe we do, but I don't want to say, because I'm not an expert at it, that we do own those parking spots. But it looks like that to me. We've turned, yeah, so if you see where, on the back of lot 43, where it says 35 feet, there's like a diagonal. That diagonal's gone now. That's another parking spot now. Yeah. And then we do actually have a lease, a perpetual lease with B&M Railroad that goes, so where that 10-foot plus or minus, we do have a lease for that little chunk of land that it's just like 10 feet wide by 53. And we do have a perpetual lease with B&M for that piece of property there.
So you're asking us to give up 4 spaces to make it accessible for the back, for folks to actually access the parking lot in the back.
I think 2 would be, I don't know. I don't know if 2 would be enough. What do you think?
I don't think
Chief?
you can get there by 2.
I'd have to look at it. I mean,
What is the typical width of a parking space out there? 8 feet?
8 feet.
per take, depending on if that's,
It's 8 feet, yeah.
those
I
are,
went out there yesterday
those are real.
and I did squeak by out back. I'll tell you, you guys park really interesting.
It's tough. We do try to get everything, keep it on this lot.
But with my Yukon, I was able to get through.
Oh.
And I did see what they were talking about.
The fence is also, I mean, I'm not,
Where it shows Center Street to the west on this, there's no parking in there. You can make up those extra spaces there. Because we don't have any parking spaces delineated down there by the track, on the track side.
Yep, at the end. Yeah, we are looking for spaces, so there's no doubt. And that's why I'm kind of here. So we have an issue, you know, with parking. We've always had an issue with parking. And since those spots, and I've actively have gone around and actually counted every single spot that we have in town that the town currently owns. So, I mean, I could break it down with all the lots. We don't need to get into that, but 113 spots is what I have. And so what we're trying to get at is, as you can see, is lot D right off the school street here. We have one side that public, I guess you could say, and the other side is a municipality. Municipal lot. At night, there's signage out there. I think we had this discussion a couple of weeks ago about what sign, what it states in those areas. And it's actually, it says lot D is no overnight parking, midnight to 5 a.m. So the problem is we have people that are now parking in those spots overnight because of the 30 spots that were, you know, on the other side. So we've been having an issue with that because people would park there. We'd write tickets, you're not allowed to park there, but I couldn't definitively say that there was enough spots for people to park that were getting permits. Right now we're at 61 permits and we currently have, with the lots that we can park in overnight, we have 60 spots. So we've given out 61 permits so far, and an average we give out between 70, 75, maybe it all depends. I've done some tallies with the years, but I would say around 70, 75. So with that being said, obviously taking 2 spots away or 4 spots away, but then you're talking about the other end down here. I have a plan of obviously, and I mean that this is something totally different. I'm obviously kind of getting off on that trail, but the reason why I'm here is looking for spots. So if we can find another place to put people, I guess you could say, it'd be great. Lot G, which is still Nasa Pizza, the island, in the middle. That's not overnight. We can do that, or at the end of Mechanic Street. I don't know who owns what the dirt portion is.
We do, at the very end.
Yeah. So that would be, so that's why I'm coming in, because obviously if we get rid of those spaces, it's just we're gonna have to figure out where to put those cars.
What is the parking at the old post office? Is that
A,
overnight?
that's A, and that's overnight, so it's always,
But-
I counted that in
But we're
mind.
not getting rid of overnight spaces.
What's that?
If we get rid of these 4 spaces right here, they're not overnight spaces, they're daytime only.
No, those are overnight spaces. Lot A, under the ordinance, which I have here, lots A, B, C, E, and H or are your overnight lots. So that would be A is the old post office, B and C is what you're looking at right here, left and right of the fire department. E is Mechanic Street, and H is behind Gale Insurance. Those are
So
all of
those
the
4
overnight
spaces
spots.
can easily go over to the center street
Yep.
over here.
That's correct.
So we're not losing spaces.
If that's where we're gonna
They-
mark them and put those there, there's not designated spots and there's not
Right.
line or signage there to show that. So until we do that, but I think he's right. Chief, you can't get to the back of that lot or you can't get to those spots along the railroad track unless you go behind the fire station.
Right.
And it is very tight back there.
But it's
and-
also going to enhance the plowing if we open up those 4 spaces. So they can go around and plow that area back there.
Well, the space
We'd
in the
have to do
middle,
wider.
there's no overnight parking, right?
No,
Yes,
there is.
there is.
Yep.
Yeah.
How do they plow that with all the cars there?
Not easily.
It
don't.
doesn't
It's hard.
happen a lot.
Yeah.
Because, years ago when parking wasn't an issue, we would all park, this was back in 2006, 2007. Everyone would park in the back row. They could clean and then everyone moved to the front row. There's just too many cars there now that doesn't happen. Typically, we'll move all our cars, we'll plow, and then everybody from the town lots will come in and park in our spots. And, we try to keep it clean, but, unless the cars move, they can't plow the snow there.
And typically every director that we've had wanted a different. Dennis wanted that fashion. That's how I learned. When Arthur came in there, he was the same way. We had Brock, and we had
Johnny?
John
Fantastic.
Van Tassel. It was different. And when Kevin, so we'll have to get with Shane to figure out where. But yes, the back lots were always, or the back spots along the tracks were always where overnight parking would be.
Mhm.
And it was always a mess. Either way, it's always a mess. But there's got to be a rhyme and a reason when those spots, and that was kind of closed off in the back. I don't know if you remember, we had an argument that somebody was plowing back there with their personal vehicle.
Right.
That's what we're talking about. That's where that was because the plow truck's not able to get behind those spots. So someone was taking their personal plow truck, and it wasn't you guys, by the way. It was somebody else. We figured that out. It was somebody else that lives across the street on Main Street, and they were just back dragging and just trying to make it, so someone would fall, but that's not their job, and we didn't want the property to be ruined. So
Okay.
Where does lot 41 put their snow?
I don't think they put it anywhere.
In
It
lot
actually
41.
just stayed. It's just stayed because it's blocked.
He only has like 3 parking spots there now. He'll open up the gate, he'll plow it in and then shut the gate. And he doesn't plow anything in the middle.
Okay, board, are you in favor of opening up those 4 spaces?
Do we need to open up all 4? Could we open up 1.5 and leave 2 small spaces for motorcycles? Because you don't really need 2-way traffic there, do you?
Ask if it should just be one way.
No, you see somebody coming through, you wait, and then you go through.
But you're not going to have a plow go through there then?
Not at this point,
No,
but
not unless you have that tube.
How much width does a plow need?
10
feet?
feet, 10 or 12, yep.
And also just the turn. There's not much room as you can see.
Okay.
So
Hey, I'm reaching.
Can I mention something about the lot line? I don't want to start much, but I'd like to mention the lot line between 41 and 42. The current fence goes at a much different angle than that lot line. And I don't know if he's encroaching on 42 or not. I'm not a surveyor, but it comes out much more in line with the parking lot lines. Actually, it comes over a little bit more. So
I thought the fence in 41 some of it was off the lot line.
into 42. Yeah, it looked like it to me, but again, I'm not
I mean, without a survey,
I just had the walk wheel and I tried, that's why I took it from both sides. It looked to me like that fence was into 42 also. But I don't, you know, I don't claim to be an expert on lot lines, so.
So also what I'm asking is you're trying to make a decision on those spots. But as I said, we only have 60 spots right now overnight. And I've just received 61 today for a parking permit. Can ask the board if we can at least use lot G as an overnight spot.
is that Mechanic Street?
Nope, that would be Tilton House of Pizza, the middle area.
Could be a problem.
Like, it's the only other option I have is D. D's already signed. D causes more of a headache because of obviously someone stays there overnight. They're working an overnight shift. They park in municipal. They park on the other side. We try to keep that open for the businesses along Main Street. So if we can do that, that would give me the town another 10 spots, bringing us to 70. That'll be good for now, and I'll just keep an eye on it. And if the lot on E or lot E or again the Mechanic Street is good, I can get with Shane and just kind of look, maybe even put a sign up or try to educate some people. They can park at the end there. It's
We're
just
double
it's
checking these
dirt.
addresses, correct? We're making sure that the cars belong over on Main Street overnight for parking.
For parking. Would say it again? Are you?
The people that require parking overnight,
Mhm.
they're on Main Street parking.
Well, they shouldn't be on Main Street parking. Like parking overnight on Main Street?
No, they live on Main Street.
Oh, okay. Yes. We have a application that they fill out, and we make sure that when they fill this out, that they live. I wouldn't say Main Street, but in that it's not all on Main Street. There might be somebody that's maybe on Mechanic Street or something like that that is getting a parking permit.
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
Well, on Lot E,
Nope,
any of
not
those
mechanic.
areas.
That's up to the landlords to do.
Okay.
Well,
I mean, I'm just saying that just because we have a lot that's
we have
over
that
in that
little
area.
lot, don't we?
Yeah, we have Lot E. Lot E is on Mechanic Street.
That's the
There's
one, and when you go down, it's to the
10
left.
spots. There's 10 spots and one handicap spot.
Yeah.
So everybody on Mechanic Street has
Uses
a parking
that
permit.
lot.
So I would think if someone from Mechanic Street,
Mhm.
is that not how that's?
Right, so everybody in parking here should be on Main Street.
The Mechanic Street lot should only be people on Mechanic Street.
Exactly. So that's
The
what I'm trying to
Mechanic
say.
Street
Right,
people should
exactly.
not be parking in these other
Well,
lots.
the problem is you can't pick or choose where they park. If somebody wants to park because they don't like Mechanic Street because it's a mud hole and they feel like they have a parking spot, there's no designated parking spots with the stickers that say you're in lot A, B, C, or D. It's first come, first serve. So all the spots, and they're pretty tight. All the spots could fill up in Mechanic Street. Everybody has a sticker. And then all those other lots on B, C would be filled up. And you might be at the very end over here by the town hall. And the only spot that's available is lot A, which is the old post office. That's kind of, we can't number them or give people anything like that because then the police will be called. It would be like parking at the high school when someone parks in your spot at the high school and you got to go get the resource officer. It just wouldn't work. So it's really first come, first serve. That's just how it's always been. You would hope that if someone's buying a parking permit, they're going to park in the area where they live. But again, there's only so many spots. So
Okay, board, first things first, the 4 spaces. You willing to give those up for opening up that parking lot?
Well, if we don't have those spaces there. So we kind of have to.
Right.
But like I said, the chief can put them over on where Center Street
And we're,
crosses to Academy. They used to.
Shane, that opens up plowing for you if it's 4 spaces, right? 2 spaces side by side, correct? That's 16 feet. Okay. Everybody okay with that? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. That's a yes. All right, next is the Center Street, we're gonna add the 4 over to Center Street?
Might be able to fit more over there. I mean,
Oh,
it's used
yeah.
far better than that than I did. I took my car and parked perpendicular on the western end and was able to back up and go, but it's tight.
Now, what are you thinking this way, just as we're looking at it?
Oh, whatever you think
This?
works. I'm not even gonna, I'm just telling you what I did with my big rig.
Hmm.
It takes an expert and I'm not one.
Yeah, because I can see that there's some curb. I know that the,
You might be able to do it at an angle and get more in. Because you gotta back out of there too, right?
Yeah, like I said, I did it in mine rig and, but it was tight.
yeah.
Right.
You can see, what's the lot across from Tilton House? You can see the curb, obviously in the middle of Center Street. So that's, looking at that, it's here.
Could you do compact car parking? Compact car,
Yeah, that's true.
get that, yeah.
Well, I'm talking at the very end. Oh, you're talking about a whole lot
Yeah,
there like
yeah.
this?
It just,
That's way beyond me.
And is there,
compact car is up to interpretation, as we know. Okay, Catherine's rig would not be a compact car, so.
is there any markings? Is where they put their post to block that off at 41A? Did they put anything there to distinguish that spot so that we're not our property, I guess?
The
That's what I
fence
figured
does
that out.
go,
does.
the fence goes on 41A and 41A. Again, I don't know if it's correct, the way it's set up, but the fence is on both lots.
All right.
So you can figure out how to put spaces in there, right?
I'm looking at an aerial view.
Well, you
I
can
see
get
two
with Shane.
spots.
You can get,
I see 2 spots, but that's fine. I mean,
Two's better than 0.
2's better than nothing, so I'll take it.
Well,
We just gotta,
if
I
you-
want to paint them just so that people don't park all the way forward. And then somebody parks right behind them,
well,
and
get with
then
Shane
we're
and
getting-
measure it out and see how many you can get.
because that's the old axis. that
If you
goes with the
angle it.
trucks. Yep. No, we can make it work. There's a will, there's a way. We'll make it work. Sounds good to me. then launching it
Everybody
over.
in favor of making T-Hopping overnight?
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Good. So I can
There you
pass that
go.
to the patrol. Good. Thank you.
1, 2, 3,
Good.
done.
Oh, gee, good. No overnight on D.
Don't ask for anything more.
Oh, gee, good to go. All right.
Sound good? Sounds like a plan.
All right. Thank you very much.
Look at that.
Thank
You guys have a good night.
And we're
Thank
on
you.
time.
Thank you.
Where would you like me to?
No, right there.
Right there.
Yeah, that's
All
good.
right.
Thanks.
You guys have a good night.
Take care.
Good night.
Thank you.
Happy vacation. Did you want to speak to us? Did you come in for a
I'm
purpose?
just here not just as a resident, not.
Okay. How about you?
Paul.
Okay, got it. All right, town administrator's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. 2 action items tonight that you'll see in your binders. One is the land use coordinator's job description, which has been floating around, and Selectman Dawson had some concerns, and I'm sure there are many more things now that need to be amended. So I need some instruction from the board.
Board?
Well, Captain, you have issues. Would you like to,
You want to take a stab at it, or you want to bring it up now, or what do you want to do?
It's a lot. We can do it if you want. Just my opinion, but
can you pass those out in advance? There's so many changes so that we can read them and then discuss them intelligently.
well, not in a hurry. Do you want me to email them to you?
And something, because that looks like a lot of changes, which may be totally good, but
Want to do that and we'll put it on May 2nd?
Yep, I'll email them out. Yes, I'll email them out.
Can we put it on the May 2nd? Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The second action item is the Tilton hiring procedures document dated 2018. This document was tabled from your April 11th meeting. I don't know whether the board has had a chance to review it yet.
Is it in here?
Yeah, it's in mine anyway.
Did you find it?
Mm-mm.
It's,
Did I go too far? April 11th, April 18. Where was it? Oh, land use.
it was in with your land use job description behind that.
Oh, thank you.
We can table that and then we can look at that at the same time. If you want.
That's the first I'm looking at it. So
Okay.
It's fine with me.
No, we'll table the hiring as well.
Thank you very much. Shall I continue, Madam Chair?
Sure.
Town Hall roof. On April the 15th, the company that had patched our roof over the last 2 years came to look at the leak in the ceiling on the first floor conference room. They discovered water coming from our neighbour's roof, which is lower than the town hall roof, and the force of the water hits the bricks and coming through the wall itself, down to the ceiling tiles. They took pictures and will put their findings in writing to us in due course.
That's an ongoing problem for years and years and years and years since I've been
This is
here.
the first time the water actually came through the bricks.
Oh, okay.
The problem is it's been hitting the bricks for years and years and has worn away the mortar. But we've never found anybody to replace the mortar because of,
The skit.
they'd have to be gymnastics
Yep.
because it's how close it is.
Hmm.
Wow.
Madam Chair, can I look into a masonry firm that will?
We've had a very difficult time finding a mason to do it because of the scaffolding, because of the width of the buildings.
But let's not give up.
Yeah.
Nope.
Thank you. I'll
Yep.
try.
Pat,
Um,
so
Go ahead.
Paul,
Sorry.
you,
Go ahead.
you
Yeah.
might want to reach out to our head of maintenance at Tilton School because we just had the entire Knowles Hall redone in terms of its mortar. So
Oh,
they had a
thank
group-
you. Thank you very much. Building inspector vehicle. On April the 16th, I collected a rental from Enterprise here in Tilton for the use of the building inspector. The town is renting this on a weekly basis until we can provide the building inspector with a more permanent mode of transportation. Finance Director Tim Pearson has done an excellent job. He's been calling around and I believe he's got some resolution on this for us.
My understanding is last week we were told this wasn't going to cost us anything and now it is.
Mm-hmm.
How did that come about? But the understanding was Primex was going to pay the rental fee.
That was my understanding.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Madam Chair, I may have misspoke. I said that Primex was covering the insurance cost for the property and liability for the car. They do not pay for the rental vehicle itself.
Then we'll need to correct our minutes because the minutes say differently. So add that to the list of corrections.
Okay. Tim, go ahead.
Well, a couple of things. First of all, you know that the former forfeiture vehicle that the town received a few years ago was gone through, and it was determined that it was going to cost roughly $5,500 just to get it to a point where the transmission could be checked out. And there were some questions about the transmission as it looked like it was leaking. So that did not seem to be a viable option. The other thing was that as you already heard the DPW director explain, the Explorer that had been donated to the town and been in use for a few years failed inspection and is deemed not repairable by Mr. Harbor. So there are a couple of options. First of all, we're looking for a temporary option as the PD has their new car 3, which was purchased partly from encumbrances and partly from forfeiture funds. And it won't be available until probably about 2 months from now, sometime around the end of May. Once it's here, but it needs to be upfitted and lettered and a few other things. So allowing for the time that it typically takes for that sort of work, we're looking for something to cover a stopgap of, say, 2 months. The chief and I had discussed the vehicle that it would be replacing in his fleet would be a 13 all-wheel drive sedan, police interceptor, that is currently badged and has a light bar and that sort of thing. So those things would need to come off, obviously. But that is an option. However, so there are two issues here. One is a temporary stopgap if the board were in favor, once you consult with the chief, in favor of taking that car for administrative use for the building inspector. And the other thing is coming up with a solution for the next 2 months. So I did find, with the help of the chief, a vehicle at a local dealer that is a 2016 Ford Taurus. It actually looks as though it's a police interceptor. It has 140,000 miles. It's a 2016, and the asking price is $8,000. The dealer does not rent vehicles, so I was looking to possibly negotiate with them where we would purchase the vehicle and have a return period with a set return value up to 60 days, so that we would have the option of returning the vehicle for, say, 90% of the price. So in other words, $400 a month cost of the vehicle during our use. And of course, we would be absorbing any other things that the vehicle would need during that time. So that's one option. And of course, if we determined that that was a really good vehicle for the building inspector and wanted to keep it, there are some monies available, some of which are in the land use department's vehicle maintenance line. And that could be applied towards the purchase of that vehicle if the board wanted to go that route. The alternative is which is a plan B, which is not ideal and not something that the building inspector wants to do, but he did agree that that he'd be willing, if it as a last resort, to accept a stipend, which I've noted in my email, which I believe was provided to the board, which is item 2. For a stipend during those 2 months, and for gas, he would submit mileage reports. So essentially, it's the same amount of money. We're looking at about $400 a month on either plan, and so that's kind of where we are. There are some pictures of the vehicle that's on the local lot, and it definitely looked like it was in police service at one point, because you can see where there was a push bar located in the front of the vehicle and technology equipment on the inside. So, but it is an all-wheel drive, and it's very similar to the other sedan vehicles that we have in the fleet.
Board?
20 miles on it.
Roughly 140,000. The owner of the lot wasn't available to talk to. I did take a look at it. I did not drive it, but once they're back, they're out sick right now. Once they're back, I will see if that's an option. So that would also mean that we could, even though that may not be available right away, we could return the rental car, at the end of this week, and then go to one of these two options if the board were in agreement.
What is the rental car costing us?
Currently, it appears to be $414 with the fees per week.
A week?
Yeah, so we're looking at roughly a $400 cost per month as opposed to a weekly cost through one of these two options.
Is the Taurus as is as seen?
Yes. It would be inspected, and it would be, knowing the dealer, it would be inspected and roadworthy before leaving his lot.
An inspection doesn't cover transmission and
No,
engine.
right.
How often per week is this vehicle utilized?
It's 3 days during the week, and pretty solidly during those 3 days. There's not a lot of office time. So that's Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Do we no longer have a regular town car as we've always had in the past?
Right.
That's right. The actual Crown Vic that we had left a long time ago, our former town administrator had donated her vehicle that
Well, her husband did.
or her husband,
for the
right.
code enforcement guy, but not as a town vehicle.
Well,
It's a code enforcement vehicle.
well,
Town
right.
administrator can't use it.
That's correct,
I
because
asked.
that's what the board had voted to make it specifically
It was
for
dedicated.
the
Well,
building
he
inspector.
did it. He donated it.
For that
predicated
purpose.
on
That's
that.
correct. Yes. Yeah.
What do you think is the best deal? Taurus?
I think for the timing, if the dealer's willing to do something like that, yeah, I do. Yep. And it's the police interceptors, we've had experience with them in terms of repair history. We sort of know what to expect with them, and places that we would take them for repair are familiar with them. So, but I would try to do the 2-month stopgap, and if that didn't work, then I'd go on to Plan B. But the Plan B does, the contingency there is they just want something in writing, which I didn't think would be a problem, just to have it memorialized.
Joe?
What is proposed to be done with this vehicle at the end of 2 months?
So with the board's approval, after conferring with the chief, once his car 3 is online, the new Tahoe, then the 13B would be able to be, provided to the town for municipal duty, presumably for the building inspector on those 3 days. So, so then that vehicle could go back, or if it turns out there's some reason that it's not going to work out to repurpose the 2013B, if it's needed for some reason that I'm not aware of, then we could always retain the vehicle from the dealer if that turned out to be a good move. But this is really intended to be a short-term stopgap.
I like Tim's plan.
I like Tim's plan.
Agreed.
Agree?
Okay, so so there's a twofold question. If the dealer does agree to do this, and this also goes to the Public Works vehicle that you approved, who would you like to execute the purchase and sale?
You're the finance guy, Purchase and sale seems like all about finance.
Okay. That's a
You've
consensus.
always dealt with contracts for us in the past.
Yes, and I would need to make sure, if you saw the suggested language I had for the plan, the number one plan, you'll see that, that would need to be inserted into the purchase and sale agreement. So,
Or should have Tim Pearson make the agreement
All agree?
Yes.
Right.
for both,
for both?
for both. Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Go ahead, Paul.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We re-established our Joint Loss Management Committee, which nothing had happened since August of 2022. So yesterday, Chuck Bowden, Chief Gilman, Becky Albert, Sue McDonald, and Pete Fife inspected the highway garage and the transfer station. Sue has very kindly agreed to take the 5 inspection reports, put them together, type them up. We'll look at them here with the board, and then they go up to Primex to go in the risk management files.
Yes, please.
New Hampshire Clean Diesel Grants. Selectman Scanlon gave me the announcement from DES for this particular opportunity. Unfortunately, I spoke with the DPW director, and we do not qualify for the grant for the replacement of trucks because we do not meet the mileage or the hours of the vehicles. Hazard mitigation plan. Tilton's locally adopted hazard mitigation plan was formally approved by Homeland Security and FEMA, which allows the town now to apply for mitigation grants. They did note, Madam Chair, the commentary about earthquake moving down in the list there, and Chief Gilman, who is our EMD, will be looking at that during the next 12 months. Legal counsel for the planning board. The planning board through Selectman Dawson is looking for legal counsel. There are 4 firms that I am offering here to share with the planning board. They are our current council, which is DTC, the Mitchell Group, Upton and Hatfield, and Saul, Leslie, Kidder, Saywood and Laughlin, who are our current CBA attorneys. If I may, Madam Chair, present these documents to
Yeah.
Selectman Dawson.
Who is our current town council? I didn't know we had a. I know we had one for the CBA agreement. Oh, I know who you're talking about. Thank you. I'll copy DTC's out for them.
Tilton Island Bridge. Jim Bouchard of the Turner Group has completed the revised scope and fee with the instructions received from the board. He'll be away for 2 weeks, and I feel it's important for him to present this document to the board should you have any questions. The timing is good, as we've yet to hear from the National Park Service in regards to our next steps for the grant funding, and also we have yet to meet with the head of Tilton School regarding the moving of the Eversource poles. So, Madam Chair, I would like to ask the board, if possible, on the next meeting, you would allow Jim Bouchard to come in and present the revised scope and fee.
Yeah, board?
Yes.
Sure.
Thank you very much. That's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. We'll continue with the selectmen's reports.
I have no report.
No, Joe, nothing. Catherine?
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay. Scott?
I'm all set as well.
Okay, I have 2 items. The last land use coordinator apparently sent out a notice to the planning and zoning saying that they weren't going to send out any note advertising. there's an RSA 675-7 that says in lieu of publication in a paper of general circulation pursuant to subparagraph, notice may be posted on a municipality's internet website if such exists. If notice is not posted on the paper of a general circulation, the notice shall appear prominently on the website's homepage, or a link directly to the notice shall appear prominently on the homepage, be posted at the time stated in subparagraph A, and shall remain on the website until conclusion of the hearing. And 3, be posted in 2 other public places. Question to you folks, do you want the ads still going out? They're like $85 to $90 a piece each week, or would you rather go by RSA 675-7? And
We can get away without spending money, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Agreed.
okay, all right. That's one. Next Selectmen's meeting on May 2nd. I feel that's our next meeting, but it shows on our website that there's a meeting on April 25th on our website.
Next week?
Yeah. I just want to check with the board, make sure we're not having a meeting next week. Go ahead,
I
Paul.
didn't think we were, but.
Madam Chair, can you look at the department head reports which were on the agenda tonight?
In a second.
Thank you.
Yeah. So no meeting next week. Okay, thank you. And I'm quite aware that the concert series will be coming up in a few months, and we have a committee that we were going to form. So if anybody wants to be on that committee, submit your name to Amy. That's coming up soon.
Did you put it out on that talking,
It would.
Tilton Northfield or Northfield Tilton?
I'm not on Facebook. I refuse to be on Facebook.
Seems to be a lot of gavel on it.
Seems to be a lot of garbage on Facebook these days. Okay. We do have it on the website. That's another reason why I saw it. So we need to get the word out.
If we, if we could do, or if we approve to have a post on, on our town Facebook, I don't mind sharing it to those other town Facebook pages.
Do we have a
just in
town
terms-
Facebook?
So,
Yes.
we have a town Facebook page.
We
yes.
do.
Do we?
Yes,
I didn't know that.
We do.
but yeah,
100 followers.
if we want to do that sort of as an official looking for committee members.
We should do that.
I can then just share it to the other 3 the major
Let's
town
do that.
conversation pages.
What's
That'd
it
be
called?
great.
So it's Town of Tilton.
Town of Tilton.
Town of Tilton Facebook page.
Oh.
It's creative. So I think Tim spent
I
hours
don't,
naming the page.
I don't do Facebook, so
Oh, you're
Not
not,
as-
you're not missing out.
I'm
on
not
much.
as savvy as.
Okay, and what reason do we want to look at the department head reports? They're in here written, so we're going to read them.
You also, Madam Chair, had them ahead of time because you always like to look at them, and if there are questions, then if the department isn't here, then I get back to them.
That they're March 1st and April 9th, and they don't seem to be for this meeting. They were last week.
Are these emailed to us?
They are indeed.
Okay. It's our point is that if they're emailed to us, then to take the time at a selectmen's meeting to go over it again, it's like redundant.
Yep.
The only one that I haven't, and then this is March 1 to March 31st, so I don't see any new ones here.
They are March reports, that's correct.
Does everybody have their department reports? Okay.
Yep.
Got them. So noted. Okay, and we've done the minutes. Is there anyone online that would like to ask us a question, or anybody in the audience today that would like to ask the selectman a question?
Several here.
Oh, Matt, go ahead. Oh, just say who you are.
Okay, Matt Gilman. I apologize for the uniform. I'm at work, but I'm not here in a work capacity. I just have a question about the board's intent with the land use coordinator position going forward. Is that something you're going to maintain as a posted job, or is this going to be now a part-time position going forward? I totally understand the need to have somebody to do the work in the meantime.
It's a part-time position.
So we're eliminating the full-time position, the posting's going away.
Not as far as I know.
I guess I'd just like to put into the record, we've had kind of some conversations at length at zoning and planning about that office being understaffed as it is. So to take a full-time position, move it to a part-time position, that seems to be working in the opposite direction that we kind of had communicated as a town.
Didn't we increase the hours of the,
Land use technician,
The
we
land use
increased it,
technician?
right?
In an equal balance or the same number of man hours happening now, or?
I think it's 8 hours less total in the department
Total in the
than
department.
what we had originally budgeted for.
Right.
well, we increased the technicians, so
Actually,
By 4
4.
hours. So then my
Down
information
4.
is
So there's a net loss of 4 hours.
Right.
Okay. I guess the concern is, I mean, we're kind of a gateway town now.
We're
There's a lot
also
of growth
gonna-
happening. And we have an office in our town that we've identified as being understaffed. And we've now taken 4 hours a week out of that office that was already struggling to meet the
somebody
need.
that wants that job, send them on in and make out an application.
I would love to, I guess I just feel as though we're kind of hurting ourselves by removing the posting. Somebody may come along down the road who would work that job full time and help kind of fill that need.
How much
It's
does
just
it
a,
cost to maintain that posting?
we've already filled
It
the
doesn't
job.
I understand that,
Doesn't.
but if somebody who saw that posting turned out to be the super person of planning down the road, I just hate to, I'm kind of with him, I hate to waste an opportunity. But I get your point. The job is filled.
The job is filled,
The postings were taken down too.
yes. And,
It's not to say that the hours will be cut, Matt,
well, we've taken 4 hours a week of
Right.
labor out of it.
but that's not to say that the person that's taken the job that will work less, if there's a need, the work will be there.
I think we need to see how it goes
Right.
and then address it, because if I remember correctly, the request was to hire yet a third person, and I'm not including the building code inspector, but to actually hire a third person to work in that department. I think the people that we have now, we need to see how they do, how they perform,
Okay.
and then go from there.
Okay. I just,
Right.
reading the record, I just think we're hurting ourselves by removing the posting for the job. Right. I mean, I totally understand that town has to move forward and work has to get done somehow, but we're certainly a growing community. And so to not keep looking for somebody to fill that role, I just feel as though we're kind of hurting ourselves. That's all. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Greg,
Greg DeVolder.
good night, folks. Sorry.
Wondering,
Back in January, there was a discussion by the board regarding lighting improvements downtown or pedestrian lights, and I was just wondering if there's been any follow-up on that.
It's in the process. I believe the plan is for 3 crosswalks. It's 3
Yes.
crosswalks, correct?
That is correct.
And Judy Tilton has been spearheading that for us. And she was looking for state monies and grant monies to fund it. But I suspect she'll be coming to us very soon to implement it. Because we have, in my mind, we still have, what is it, the American Protection and Recovery Act, opera monies
Mhm.
that we have not spent, so.
It's a much needed downtown lighting, for sure. Anybody else? Anybody, Tim, up there?
No questions.
Okay. Well, at this time, when I see no other questions, concerns, then I will make a motion, the time being 6:21, to move into non-public per RSA 91A:3, the hiring of any person as a public employee in matters which discussed in public would likely adversely affect the reputation of any person other than a member of this board.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call vote.
Jessamine, yes.
Ruggles, yes.
Wilson, yes.
Constantino, yes.
This conference will now be recorded.
Time being 6:59, I make a motion to seal the minutes of the April 18th, 2024, because disclosure would adversely affect the reputation of a person other than a member of the board permanently. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. New business. Is there any new business to come before us? Joe?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Technically, that's old business, but
I was surprised at Matt Gilman. I wasn't expecting that.
oh, it's a big thing nowadays.